Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and well. Now on today's episode I've taken 3 albums off my shelf for which to present to you and just share some of my thoughts on these albums each in turn and see if they will fit into your particular collection at some point. So the first album today is a 1971 release. It's a self-titled album by a group called Air. Now you've probably heard of at least one other band called Air. This isn't them, by the way. Um, Here we go. I really like this album cover. I mean, they're not the most attractive set of people, but I love the fogginess in the background. I love the way that they're holding like each other's arms and that kind of thing. I think that's a really good. I'd love to recreate this album with me and my mates. I get a real kick out of it. Yeah, maybe sometime in the future. Yeah, I might get into that, just like recreating classic album covers, but just with my mates kind of thing. Yeah, it's just off the top of my head of something I'd like to do, but who knows how expensive that would actually be. But back to the album. Um, yeah, do I like this album? Yeah, I do. I really do. However, I did find this album surprisingly hard to assess. Um, I like it on so many levels, but then others, there's something not quite right, and perhaps I can go over it with you. So, no doubt about it, there's some talent on display here. There are some really nice arrangements and compositions to be found on this particular album. And that's where I think the actual strength of this particular album lays, in those elements. Um, for the most part, this was an enjoyable journey. Yeah, I can't deny that at all. Um, the problem and the elephant in the room is the vocals, I'm afraid. And it's a multifactorial problem. It's not just like one thing. Um, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that the vocals are terrible. No, I wouldn't go that far. But it's quite obvious that it's not up to the standard of the other contributions from members of the band. It's just not up to par with the rest of them. Um, and it's a real shame. With an alternate singer, yeah, this album would have hit the stratosphere. It would have gone from being a really kind of like cool album and nice thing to listen to being, wow, everybody's got a copy of it. It's, this will be on like the same level of as somebody like I'm trying to think, Carole King's Tapestry. It potentially could have been that big an album, but I just think the vocals suffer and it brings down the whole package, which is really unfortunate. Um, yeah, I've kind of underlined. I made that point twice in my notes. It's not the musicianship. That's not what the issue is. It's not the compositions. It's the vocals. And like I said, it's not to do with. It's just not up to the same standard. Unfortunately, it feels rather amateurish. Or when I was thinking about it, I thought to myself, would the vocalist would have passed America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, and Australia's Got Talent, would that vocalist would have got through the early rounds? Um, I'm not sure. I don't think they would have. They certainly wouldn't have won it. So yeah, that kind of gives you a gauge of what it is. But I want you to have a listen to for yourselves, and whether you agree or disagree with me, please let me know in the comment section your thoughts. The tracks that I would recommend from this particular album are Realize, which it's really nice. Jail Cell, which I found amusing and good at the same time, and probably the tune that I purchased this album for is a tune called Mr. Man. So yeah, 3 tracks, worth a listen to, worth your consideration. The notables on this album are Herbie Hancock on percussion, and Randy Brecker on trumpet, and Mike Brecker on sax. Now the Brecker brothers they're a big deal. To get them on this particular album, I'm not sure how that even happened. I really don't. And I did hear mention that Jan Hammer, but spelt Jan Hammer, featured on this album as well. But it's not on the actual sleeve notes. Oh, is it? Let me have a quick look. In fact, I'll show you the inside just to show you. I think that's really nice. That's classy. Let me just see. Give me a second. I always keep doing this when I'm doing, like, I should like look beforehand just to make sure. Yeah, Jan Hammers. Now, could there be two Jan Hammers? I find that highly unlikely. That is his name spelt slightly different on there. Yeah, so if it is the one in the same Jan Hammer, how did you get Jan Hammer and the Brecker brothers on this? I really don't understand how that could have happened. But yeah, more power to them. That just really emphasizes how good the musicianship is on this particular album, apart from one element. So yeah, please check it out. I think this is still really. I think this has been reissued that many times that you should be able to get a copy of this relatively easily, I would hope. But certainly have a listen to it before committing to it. But yeah, I'm not going to get rid of my copy. I like this album overall. It does have its problems, but I like it. So that's the first album today. Nearly dropped the cover there, as a matter of fact. The second album today is a slice of, nice bit of Brazilian bossa nova. And it is a 1970 release, and it's by a group called Essa e La Familia Sagrada. And the album's entitled La Nova Onda del Brasil. There you go. Yeah, I really like the cover for this. I mean, it's not in terms of pinpoint sharpness of the actual image, it leaves a lot to be desired. But the overall composition, I really do like it. It looks like these guys are having a real good time, and it does come out on the album. Now, Essa, you might have heard me mention this particular name in earlier videos, and it was definitely in one of the Black Gold episodes, and I referred to him also as part of the renowned classic bossa ensemble called Tamba Trio. I love that particular group, and this is his one of his output. Well, a piece of material by him sometime later in his career. Now, when I first got this album and showed it to you on one of the Black Gold episodes, there is an image on the reverse side. I'm not going to show you now because my notes are there, where Mr. Essa looked rather chubby, and it just didn't click to me it was the same guy. So and I took the mickey somewhat. So Mr. Essa and your family, I like to retract that mocking of you. I alluded to your love of sausage rolls. Yeah, that was unfair. And seeing as I've joined the dots, it's like I'm going to take that back because you are one of my musical heroes. So I'm sorry for mocking you. I didn't mean it. I'm very much sorry. Please forgive me. Now, the title of this album, La Nova Onda del Brasil, when I did a loose translation of it on the internet, on the interweb, it basically alludes to the new wave of Brazilian sound, I guess, something remote kind of like that. Now, I like this album. I like it a lot. There are not only engaging compositions to be found, but also delicious multi-layered vocal harmonies. Yeah, I found this to be a frisky piece. I liked it. Now, it does come with some caveats, and hopefully I can go over that with you without forgetting. Um, this feels like a project where Mr. Essa wanted to, or intended to, rip up and throw away the established conventions of the Brazilian bossa nova sound and incorporate instead more of kind of like the Western sounds of that era. Um, yeah, particularly stuff which was coming out of the US and Britain at the time. So when I was joining the dots, attempting to join the dots when I was actually listening to this album, I was thinking of bands such as the New Seekers, that kind of vocal harmony arrangement type thing. That's very much the sense I got from it. I could be wrong in terms of that particular group, but my memory of them, they were doing a similar thing, just happens to be sung in Portuguese. Now, the overall sound on this album doesn't conjure up the kind of Copacabana, beautiful women, that kind of thing. It doesn't really conjure that. There's something else going on here, and the best way I could really describe it is something more pragmatic is going on. They're not really alluding to, the bright burning sun and, you know, women, walking along the beach. They're not really alluding to that. It doesn't feel like that. Something else is going on. Now, because of that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this album to, as much as I love it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to those beginning their journey in the bossa nova stroke Brazilian sound. I think you'd probably be best served checking out some of the foundations of the genre first, getting a handle on what's going on and what your expectations is, and then move over to something like this once you're comfortable with that sound. Um, yeah, but those who are familiar with the bossa nova sound and have quite a bit of it in their own personal collection, this is something nice and different. It's a departure from the usual sound. It's a bit more kind of it's, I wouldn't even say it's like rock chick or anything like that, but there's something else going on, and it's both a delight and slightly kind of, it makes you sit up and notice what's going on. I can't articulate it any better than that, because this holds a unique position in my Brazilian collection, because it isn't a rock, isn't like in the rock genre, and it's not pop, but and it still holds on to many of the fundamentals of the Brazilian sound, but it's all kind of mixed up into something else which I haven't really been able to classify yet. So I look forward to in the future listen to this again and perhaps coming up with further conclusions as to what I may think about it. Now, yeah, yeah. One of my notes is it features many thoughtful reimaginings of Brazilian classics and original compositions. Can't go. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. It is thoughtful the way they've done it. It's a nice little experiment. So well done to all those involved. You've put out something which certainly for me and my collection is a standout piece. Yeah, glad to have it. Now, the tracks that I would recommend from this particular album, and do forgive me, those who know the channel know that I have a habit of butchering Portuguese language, and probably today's going to be exactly the same, but I'm going to go for it anyway. The tracks that I would recommend would be Homem da Sac or Baravento, that's the first track. The second track would be Please Garçon. Don't know why I'm doing a French accent with a Brazilian band. Okay, just forgive me. And the last one would be Sa Marina. So yeah, those three tracks. Give them a listen, see what you think. Let me know in the comment section whether you like them, don't like them, disagree with my sentiments, or agree with me. Your comments are always welcome. The notables on this album are Nana Vasconcelos on the berimbau and Joyce on vocals. Now, I have a couple of albums, not only, well, Joyce, I'd certainly have a couple of her albums, and Nana Vasconcelos. Yeah, he did the rounds of that era with his kind of like more kind of traditional Brazilian instrument playing. So he's well known, and I've got an album with just those, well, two of them are present on another album, which I thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, give this album a listen. You may be surprised on what's going on here, because I certainly was. So that's today's second album. Today's third album is a 1982 release, and it's by a band called Paz. That's P-A-Z, and the album's entitled Paz Are Back. There we go. Just a coincidence that the blue of the album cover and my t-shirt happen to be really close in terms of Pantone, but yeah, wasn't deliberate. I found this album to be a really cool journey through electronica, Latin and jazz fusion. So there's quite a bit on this particular album to have a listen to, and all of it is enjoyable. I found this to be a lively and spirited album with a good sense of fun. Yeah, overall, when I've been looking up this album and some, just seeing what other people have said about it, I'd say this is an underrated gem, at least to my ears. I don't think it gets the credit that it perhaps should do. But, that's the nature of music and collecting. It's kind of like, when you do step away from the pop scene, so to speak, yeah, a lot of people, a lot of musicians don't get the credit which they probably do deserve for whatever reason. So I think this is an example of that. I can't help but thinking that these guys got a real kick out of performing, and you can feel the energy on this particular album. You can feel the joy of it, of them putting this together. It's yeah, you don't get that all the time. That sense of fun and abandon, just like, yeah, let's just do this. But yeah, certainly on this one, I think I could hear that they was enjoying themselves. There are some nice compositions to be found here, played with skill and gusto. Can't disagree with that. Yeah, really can't. And my last kind of note to myself and perhaps to you guys is give this a chance. Even if you're not attracted by the cover, which is, I'm not sure what to make of the cover itself. I think I like it. Yeah, that's a question mark behind it. I'm not entirely sure, but certainly worth having a listen to. Do yourself a favor and give it a listen to. The tracks that I would recommend from this album are Moonchild, I Can't Remember, and AC/DC. Yeah, give those ones a listen, see what you think, and see if you agree or disagree with me. Now, the notables on this album are Ray Worley on sax and flute, who does a really good job on this, and I've got to give mention to Frank Gibson on drums, who does a really, his performance on here is unbelievable. I'm not sure if his any of his other work's gonna like appeal to me as much as what's on here, but certainly as a drummer, yeah, just got I'm gonna salute you, sir. Your drumming skill is really up there. So yeah, this is the Paz album. Check it out, see what you think. Still can get hold of this. In fact, all three albums you should be able to get hold of if you so choose. So thank you for joining me this episode. It's been an absolute blast. If you found the episode remotely entertaining or informative, or a bit of both, please consider liking, subscribing and sharing. I do welcome your comments down below, so feel free. So until the next episode, please look after yourselves, stay safe, and I will see you soon. So until then, bye bye.